Welcome, Mr. Amrendra Pandey. Thank you for joining this meeting. We will quickly dive into the set of questions where you can share your insights.
Thanks, Sudha, for inviting me to this podcast.
So, the first thing goes is that the defining moment in your career that shaped you the way you see education and interdisciplinary learning. Can you just tell us more about it?
Yeah, Sudha, see, my perspective on education, it was never shaped by a single moment or a single classroom event. It was an important realization during my years of working, where there used to be an intersection of technology, program management, and education. During my association with some of the global technology organizations and their projects, like Project Shiksha of Microsoft, Learn Easy Steps of Intel Technologies, and the University Connect program of Nokia Networks, I had massive opportunities to engage with educational institutions, students, educators, and many young professionals. During this phase, I could observe an interesting paradox that many of these young professionals, they used to have the requisite academic knowledge as well as technological prowess, but when it came to situations that would demand some other skills like communication, collaboration, adaptability, problem solving, confidence, or the simple skill or ability to connect knowledges across domains, they would struggle. And this realization stayed with me for a long period. And the thought that how is it that we can come get away from this kind of a situation. So it convinced me that education cannot merely prepare students to answer questions for which answers we already know. It must confront questions which do not even exist yet. And when I had the opportunity to work as an educational leader with GK Memorial School, again I had an opportunity where I can translate my conviction into actual practice at this school. So we started to build an ecosystem in the school where all of these things, different subject knowledges and various soft skills, they can reinforce with each other. They complement each other so that interdisciplinary approaches come into effect. And that's how we have been trying to work over here. And there is one important thing that we did at GK Memorial School, which was launching a program that was called Launchpad. And this is an in-house student readiness program of our school, which will help students to understand themselves, learn how to learn, develop confidence, explore careers, make informed choices, and prepare life beyond examinations, along with having people who are experts at utilizing interdisciplinary approaches. So that's how it has happened, Sudha.
That's wonderful. But how do you draw on multiple disciplines at once to shape learning experiences that spark innovation and tackle real world problems?
So that to me, life itself is interdisciplinary. There's no difference, So for me, learning must eventually become interdisciplinary as well. And when we opened this school, the first thing that we thought is how is it that we can enforce interdisciplinary approaches in a big way. I understand that the challenges that we are going to leave for our next generation or they will inherit from us are very, very complex in nature. For example, if we talk about climate change, artificial intelligence, sustainability, public health, entrepreneurship, social inequality, and of course rapidly changing careers, these cannot be understood through one subject alone. They will demand you know um, a connection between different subjects. They will demand scientific reasoning. They will demand technological fluency. They might demand mathematical thinking, communication, creativity, ethics, empathy, collaboration. There are so many things that would be required to find a solution to these complex issues. So we have been working to move students from simply knowing towards connecting, applying, and creating. So for us, experiential learning, technology enabled classrooms, collaborative activities, career exposure, communication development, and our program, the Launchpad, these are all part of that larger philosophy that we would want to have interdisciplinary approaches. So, what a good way to begin it with educators only, because we believe over here that when teachers collaborate beyond traditional subjects, there can be fascinating possibilities that might emerge. For example, a historical event can become an exploration of geography or economics or politics, literature, and human behavior. There are so many possibilities. Maybe an environmental problem, it can lead to exploring various subjects together, for example biology, mathematics, technology, communication, and civic responsibility. So innovation to us, does not require a very sophisticated infrastructure. Many of the times it begins with a very simple question. So what, instead of giving bookish knowledge to the students, we need to tell students, instead of asking them questions like what do you know, we should ask them what can you do with what you know, so that their knowledge gets in depth. And that shift is something from application to subjects to connections, is where I believe that most of the powerful learning, it takes place, it begins. Sudha.
Wonderful, wonderful. Education constantly shifts. So, with new needs and new technologies and different stakeholders to satisfy, how do you navigate that when making important calls in your work?
So that I have learned throughout my career that when it comes to taking complex decisions, we are rarely fed with perfect information or perfect data. So it's not only about my corporate experience, but even my educational leadership has also reinforced this lesson, that whenever it will be a decision needs to be taken which is complex in nature, then you have to think through different lenses. So when such situations arise to me, I take it through four different lenses. I try to gauge or decide by considering four different lenses. The first one is purpose, second is evidence, third is people, and fourth is sustainability. Purpose will always come first, because when we are trying to implement something new, we should ask this question to us. I'm talking about our school. When we do this, we ask this question to us, whether this particular new technology or innovation will genuinely improve the learning experience of the students or add to their future readiness. If answer to these questions or this question is unclear, then even the best or the most attractive innovation that we are trying to implement deserves a reconsideration. We need to rethink about it. Then we talk about evidence. So without evidence, we cannot measure the effectiveness of any innovation that we are going to do, implement. And though I believe that everything that matters cannot be measured immediately. Measuring takes time. You need to give it some time. But having evidence in terms of measurement is very important. So we do it using student outcomes, classroom observations, teacher feedback, parent perspectives, emerging educational research that we can go through, and institutional data that we have collected over a period of time. So then we will be able to understand whether any intervention is actually creating some value. So that was the second lens. Third lens is about people. When we talk about a school, it's a big ecosystem where there are so many stakeholders. The teachers are there, students are there, parents, administrators, and divided larger community whom we are helping through the school. So to me, as a leader, it is not required to satisfy everybody, or it is not possible also, or not desirable as well, that in many situations we will be able to satisfy everybody. But we need to listen people carefully, understand what they are saying. We need to explain what we are doing in a transparent way, and have the conviction to choose what serves our institutional educational purpose in the long term. So and the last lens through which I look at innovations is sustainability. I'm very cautious when it comes to adopting technology simply because it exists or it has become a fashion to implement that technology in a classroom scenario, or to that matter anywhere. Our investments in the school, whether it be smart classrooms or digital learning platforms or language learning technologies, we invest in teacher development and student readiness initiatives. All of these should be guided by their potential strength, rather than their mere existence or novelty as such. So my experience has taught me as to how we need to strategize things, how we need to manage various stakeholders. And it has also taught me something which is very important, that I told you earlier, that we do not need to measure everything instantly. It takes time. So the best of the decisions will require both data and judgment, and evidences will tell us what is happening, and educational purpose to remind us why it matters and when it matters. So then only we can implement innovations in our schools. Sudha.
So, which trends in education or interdisciplinary approaches do you think will have the biggest impact on how we teach and learn going forward?
So that to me, artificial intelligence will undoubtedly be one of the most disruptive forces when it comes to education. And I believe that its greatest impact may be different from what many people currently imagine. It will make information abundant, increasingly abundant, and many of the routine tasks that we do will be increasingly automated in this world with AI coming in. And consequently, the real educational challenge will no longer be merely helping students acquire information. Rather, it will be helping them question information, interpret it, connect it, challenge it, use it ethically, and create something meaningful from it. And which these things will make the human capabilities far, far more important. And for example, critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration, ethical judgment, resilience, curiosity, and leadership, these will become increasingly valuable precisely because technology is becoming more and more capable. So I'm therefore particularly, very, very optimistic about the convergence that AI enabled personalized learning or competency based education, interdisciplinary project based learning, and experiential education are going to have. And these approaches, when combined together, can move us away from a one size fits all model towards learning that recognizes individual strengths while connecting knowledge to authentic problems. I also believe that teachers' role will evolve significantly with AI coming in. From a teacher from primarily being a transmitter of information to becoming a designer of learning experiences, to becoming a mentor, to becoming a facilitator, and above all, everything all, a cultivator of human potential. When we talk about human potential, it is limitless. At our school also, the slogan is realize your potential. So we consider all our teachers to be a cultivator of human potential. The schools, any school that will thrive in future will not necessarily be those with the most technology. There will be those that understand what technology should do, and equally important, what must profoundly remain human, because what, humans are never going to fade away. They will always be there, whatever technologies we used as an intervention in the classroom. Sudha.
That's nice. What do you hope your legacy will be in education or interdisciplinary collaboration? And how do you want it to shape the learners, educators, and researchers who come after you?
Sudha, I would like my legacy to be less about the institutions I have led, but more about the possibilities those institutions demonstrated. Much of my educational journey has involved working in a region where aspirations are abundant. People want to do more and more. But when it comes to opportunities and exposure, most of the times it is limited. And this observation has strengthened my conviction that a child's geography should never determine the boundaries of his or her ambition. At our school, our journey has been about demonstrating what becomes possible when a school combines aspiration, with sustained institutional development, strengthening academic practices, building technology enabled learning environments, and investing in teachers. Along with creating programs such as Launchpad, which expands opportunities for our students and continually raises expectations of what education can achieve. Recognition and rankings at school for students, these do encourage because they validate progress, but they cannot be the final purpose of education. And that's the reason over here at our school we try to develop students in a way so that they think about life beyond examinations as well. The real measure when we talk about of a school is what happens to its students years after they have left the gates of the schools. It is not the immediate impact. So my hope is that our learners, our students, when they leave us with confidence to ask questions, they should have the courage to make choices. They should have the humility to keep learning forever, be a lifelong learner, and the ability to connect knowledge across disciplines in an interdisciplinary way to solve problems that really matter, which we are going to leave them as a legacy. And for educators, of course, when it comes to what legacy am I going to leave, I hope whatever work I have done in my career for educators, it reinforces the idea that teachers must remain learners themselves. For researchers and educational leaders, I hope it encourages greater attention to how innovation can be made meaningful and accessible beyond metropolitan cities and traditionally privileged educational environments. Primarily because I am at a place which has been a region where, like I said, that aspirations are abundant, but when it comes to exposure and opportunities, they are limited. Personally, I would like to leave behind one idea that education should not merely prepare young people for the future, it should help them believe that they have the ability and the responsibility to shape the future, to shape it. If the institutions and programs I help build continue nurturing that belief long after my role has ended, I would consider that a legacy is worth leaving. That's all from my side, Sudha.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your insights and valuable time in contributing and sharing the knowledge that you've acquired so far. And it is lovely to, have the meeting with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sudha, for making me part of this podcast, and wish you the best for your future as well.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, bye. Take care.